Okay, I need to change the slide deck up a bit because I thought that I was going to go into the configuration, but let's touch base on error disable. So when you configure, or don't configure as it's going to be the default, the port security violation mode to shut down, remember that's the one that shuts down the port, it's going to shut down your port. Yeah, well, kinda. Actually, and I think I briefly touched on this, it's going to be placed in error disable mode, which shows up as error disabled. Or error disable rather. I don't know why they couldn't put the OR in there, but I don't write for Cisco. And really this is synonymous with the shutdown, but there is a subtle yet important difference that you need to know. So when a port is in a shutdown status, and this is commonly referred to as administratively shut down, on a switch, a really good command to know, I don't know if I've touched on this, but it's show interface, specify the interface, and then follow that up with status. This gives you a quick and dirty look at the port, tell you the VLAN, the duplex settings, the speed types that are available on here, as well as whether this is fiber or copper, but that's a lesson for another day. This is a good command to know. Anyways, when you issue that command, the status is what you're looking for. When it's admin shut, you're going to see disabled. But when the port is in error disable mode, you're going to see error disabled. That's interesting. I thought it was error disabled, but anyways, it's error disabled. So there is a difference here. You'll be able to see this with the show interface status. So this slide shows you what's going to occur on a switch when a port is put into error disable state. And you can see here, this is the log. The timestamps aren't great, but you can see the linear progression. So the first message is that it's going to detect an error on the port, and it's going to put that into an error disable state. And this message tells you why it put it into that error disable state. In this case, we can't have this MAC address, boob, nice, on port fast0/1. And so you can see the line protocol goes down, and then the entire link goes down. And if we issue our new favorite command, show interface f0/1 status, we see that it's error disable status rather than just disable status, which would be an admin shutdown. And if we issue our verification command, what we're looking for here is the port status. We can see it's in secure shutdown. The reason for that is the violation mode is shut down, and we can see the security violation count has incremented, and it tells us what the last source address was, and generally this is going to be the reason for your security violation, though not always, because it could be that it wasn't because of the specific address. It could be because the maximum number of MAC addresses per port was violated. Okay, so we've seen why a port will be put into error disable mode, as well as how to identify a port that's in error disable mode. So the next logical step is to find out how to clear error disable mode, because if the big boss is calling you and saying, hey network dude, I can't get on the network, what's going on, my port is screwed, you need to know how to re-enable him and make him fat, dumb, and happy again. And there's actually two ways to do this. You can manually re-enable a port that's in error disable mode, or you can let Cisco IOS handle that for you automatically. Again, depending on your security policy, you always have to weigh usability versus security. The more secure method is to make you go in and manually re-enable that port, because what that's going to do is let you put your peepers on that, determine why it was shut down in the first place, and then possibly change your security policies or educate an end user as to why they can't do what they were doing. Of course, the downside to that is if this happens at dark 30, you're going to get paged, have to wake up, probably sober up a little bit and get on the network and do this, and it's a pain in the ass. So you might opt to have this cleared automatically. So the simple method is the manual method, and this is probably what you're going to need to know for the CCNA security exam. And the way to clear this, unfortunately, you have to have the ability to get into configuration terminal mode, and then go under the interface, issue the shutdown command, which shuts the port down, and then the no shutdown command. This is often referred to as a shut no shut, simply because of the commands. And once this port is coming back up, you should see in the log, this port is coming up. Go ahead and issue your show interface status and make sure that you have connected, because a lot of times as soon as you re-enable this, that same event is going to occur. If there's something there that is causing this error disable, a lot of times it's going to go ahead right away and put it back into error disable mode. So you want to bring this up, wait a few seconds, and then go in and see that it is connected and that you have traffic passing, because you don't want to have to wake up again 30 minutes later when the same guy calls, that much more irate because it's still occurring. Now, to automatically clear error disable, normally this would be in the advanced lesson. I'll throw it in there as well, but I think that this is good to know for practical implementations. So you can set a security policy saying, hey, you know what, if there's a port security violation, what I want to do is I want to shut down that port. Yeah, I want to be absolutely secure, but if if it's in the middle of the night, let's go ahead and after X amount of minutes, let's say 5 minutes, let's go ahead and automatically bring that up again. And this is cool because it's going to bring it up. If whatever caused the violation has gone away, then you're going to save yourself a phone call in the middle of the night. But if whatever caused the violation is still present, it's just going to go ahead and put this back into error disable state. Of course, you're going to have a bunch of log messages saying, coming up, going down, coming up, going down, but we can live with that. That's a lot better than a call at 2:30 in the morning. So what Cisco iOS does is it has a number of error disable reasons. So these are reasons why Cisco iOS will put a port into error disable mode. And with each of those error disable reasons, there's an associated timer. So it's saying that after this amount of time, bring it back out of error disable status automatically. And the default timer is going to be 300 seconds, which is 5 minutes. Now I've got this truncated. When you do a show error disable recovery, it's going to give you all these reasons. There's a grip of these reasons, and it's going to show you here if they're disabled or not. By default, I believe by default they're all disabled. You have to go in and manually enable these. So there's 2 steps of this. You have to enable it for the correct error disable reason, and then you have to set a timer, or you can just use the default timer of 300 seconds. So the error disable reason that we're looking for here is psecure violation, and you'd know that from the documentation or because you have a photographic memory and you're going to remember this slide, not likely. But also you could go back into your switch logs and you can see what has caused the violation. It'll give you the error disable reason when it puts a port into error disable. So you're going to go into configuration. This is a global configuration command, whereas everything else that we've seen today has been under the interface. You're going to go ahead and say error disable recovery cause, which is going to be your reason, and then specify psecure violation. Now that's good enough. After you've configured this, what's going to happen is anytime there's a port that's put into error disable because of a violation for psecure violation, it's going to, after 5 minutes, automatically come back out of error disable. But say you want to set that recovery interval to something different, and this is in seconds. So we're saying, let's 30 seconds should be sufficient. This will override the default. If you don't specify it, it's going to use the default. Otherwise, it will use the recovery interval that you specify. The important thing to remember when you're setting this error recovery interval is this is for all error disable reasons. I'll be the first to admit that I might be wrong about this. There might be a way to set this for specific recovery. I don't remember, and I'll check that out. Verify one way or the other and put it in the show notes, but in this case it's going to set it from 300 to 30. So when we issue the show error disable recovery, we can see that for the reason psecure violation, we have enabled it to recover. If I'd show you this whole output, this would be the only one that's enabled, the rest would still be disabled. But for space considerations, I did not put in the entire output. We'll see this on the CLI in action in the lab. And then it sets a timer interval to 30 seconds. So again, you have multiple error disable reasons that you've enabled the timer on. This will affect all of them. So now we can see what happens when our port goes into error disable. We go through the same steps as before. Set into error disable. Here's a reason. It goes to down. But then if we look at the timers here, it's going from, when it first noted it. I could have easily just highlighted this one, but anywho, 30 seconds later, I believe my math is right, you're going to get this message. It says error recover, and it's going to say attempting to recover from psecure violation error disable state on fast Ethernet 0/1. So that's our timer. It's saying, okay, well, you know what? I put this in error disable because of a violation for port security, but I see that I'm supposed to bring this up after 30 seconds, so let me go ahead and do that. And in this case, it brought it up, and because whatever the violation was there, it has cleared, that's going to go ahead and leave this in the up state. There are some caveats with this. I'll discuss that on the advanced lesson because this is probably a bit much for your CCNA security exam, but I just wanted to show you that there was a method of doing this that did not involve a call in the middle of the night and doing a shut no shut on a port.